Hey, Bourbon family. It is officially Manic Monday. I hope you all are hanging in there. Whiskey Phoenix back today with another daily review, and we are getting very close, unfortunately, to the end of my current bourbon collection. I had to slow it down when my contract ended back in July, so it's time for this Phoenix to start thinking about other material to bring to you all. And unfortunately, today I am coming to you with one of these one-offs. Honestly, can't find anymore, no matter the research that I did, no matter how many different websites I went to. I could not find any that still had this in stock. And I got lucky enough to get it during my Louisville trip when I visited Bardstown's tasting room and did a tasting experience there. And they had like two bottles that were exclusive to the tasting room. So please don't shoot the messenger. But today's review is of a Bardstown Origin Series. This one in particular is their blend of straight bourbon whiskeys finished with oak staves. Not a lot of other research that I could find on this one, but thankfully Bardstown's usually does a solid and they put the mash bill right on the bottle. So this is a blend of, looks like 4 different bourbon makers. 48% blend coming out of Georgia at 8 years, 80% corn, 10% rye, 5% wheat, and 5% malted barley. Then you have 26% coming in from Bardstown Bourbon Company themselves. That's aged 5 years. That is a 70% corn, 10% rye, and 12% malted barley mash. Next, you have 20% coming out of Kentucky. And that's literally what it says on the bottle, Kentucky. That's a 6-year. That is 70% corn, 21% rye, and 9% malted barley. And then the last part of this 6% mix coming out of just Kentucky is 12 years. Coming in at 78% corn, 10% rye, and 12% malted barley. This is 94 proof, so it's a little on the lower end. I believe I paid $95 for this when I was down at their tasting room. At least that's what I put in my Only Drams account. Trying to keep track of that kind of stuff. And no, I don't think I'm going to unhide where it is hidden, like how much I've spent on bourbon this year. Oh, who am I kidding? I probably will. So again, was not able to find this anywhere online, no matter how much research I did. What I did find online was fairly interesting, though. There was a mix of a lot of negative. Like one review I read, they literally just hated it. And then I was actually able to find some, positive reviews as well. Some of the negative takeaways that I found was that some of the reviewers just felt that it was a little too youthful, which is odd because, and again, I love what Bardstown does with their bottles. It's always got great artwork on the back. Which I found odd considering there's a 12-year-old bourbon in here. I mean, none of them were under, I guess 4-year being the youngest, but you have a 12 and an 8-year in here. So I found it rather interesting that some of the negative takeaways where they found it youthful. Some people found it astringent. Some of the other negative reviews was there was unbalanced fruit notes, more kind of leaning in towards when they say unbalanced fruit notes that it um, that the fruit was like unripe was a lot of what I came across. And that it just kind of detracted from the experience for some. And then some felt that the mouthfeel um, was not as particularly rich, I guess, as some can be. Some of the, I mean, but on the other side, there were a lot of positive takeaways. Of some people felt that it was complex and balanced flavor profile. Without it being overwhelming. Some of the positives also was it was a rich flavor profile where people felt like the oak stave finish added a little bit of depth to it. And, in the end, a lot of them on the positive side found the finish to be pleasant. Um, Also, during my research, part of what is a stave finish is a stave finish involves adding toasted oak staves to the barrel, a process that can deepen and enhance the bourbon's color, texture, aroma, and flavor. And it's different from traditional barrel finishing and is a way to add layers of complexity to the whiskey. So this isn't really, I would just consider it a light golden color. I had it, I think it was part of my tasting experience at the tasting room in Louisville. I've only drank out of it once. This is literally the second time I'm trying it. So let's see what we can get into here a little bit as far as the nose goes. Kind of hit with a little bit of sweetness on the nose, to be honest. A little bit of like vanilla cream, slight toasted oak on the nose even, and maybe even a little like cherry. Yeah, I think just a tiny bit of cherry there. All right, let's get this first sip out of the way. Which shouldn't be too bad since it's just 94 proof. I mean, I get some of the negative takeaways as far as a lack of richness, but I mean, the fingers on this are pretty good. I mean, they didn't run down the glass like Speedy Gonzales. I mean, there's still some kind of, trying to make their way down. So I'd say it's got some good fingers on it. There's a little cinnamon spice there. That vanilla's kind of given way that was on the nose is kind of given way to like toffee on the palate. And that cherry, I guess honestly is what it was, because I'm getting some kind of a red fruit and I don't know what it is. Even a little brown sugar trying to sneak in there, perhaps. I mean, where some of the haters were like the finish wasn't, it lacked some richness. I mean, yeah, it's not very rich, but I would consider this like a medium finish, slightly warm. It's soft as well. Because I mean, while you got a little bit of like that cinnamon spice, that is kind of like hanging out in the finish, but that's like way on the backside of the finish, where more forward for me, it kind of, everything kind of gives way to like a toffee butterscotch, maybe caramel butterscotch type finish on the palate. I mean, overall, I think this is a really good bourbon from Bardstown. Um, I'm not gonna lie, I've had better from Bardstown, but this being, a special release, that I managed to pick up when I was at their tasting room, I'm not disappointed that I picked it up. Um, I don't plan on, going through it very quickly because obviously, like I said, you can't find it online anywhere. So, I mean, overall, I would give this a solid, 8.9 out of 10. Um, if it was possible to find on the secondary market, I don't think I would pay much more than, 150 for it, but I don't have to worry about you guys where that's concerned, because it's not able to be found. Sorry. Um, so yeah, there you have it. There's your review on this Manic Monday. I'll drop a link to Bardstown Bourbon Company in the comments. Uh, don't forget, all the information for the Hang Light Gummies is in my bio. Just real quick, I did get hit yesterday, like some of the other people did, with my video being taken down for yesterday's review. I did appeal it, and the appeal came back approved right away. So I'm going to try something a little different today. A lot of times I'll, do the FYP hashtag. I think I'm going to leave that off today and see what happens. See if it gets flagged again. But yeah, I mean, I know I've seen stuff out there, some of the bigger creators, even a small one like myself, at, over 400 followers, I got tagged with it. So, but be sure you appeal it. It was a very simple process. And, we're not violating their community guidelines. I went and reread them. So, but as always, please drink responsibly, and I'll see you in the next one.